Welcome to Framework for the Family. I'm Bomani Tyehimba. This is my co-host Zeke Adams, and we're here to give you another episode on Framework for the Family. Last time we were talking about exercise, right?
Yeah.
A healthy family is a healthy family.
Yes.
And now we're going to take, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about vacation.
Vacation.
You know, since we've started this podcast, I have got some interesting topics. Talk about this. Well, what can you guys talk about that? And, you know, we're going to talk about
Vacation.
vacation.
Okay.
So I'm going to frame this up and we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Is it okay
Okay.
as a married couple
Okay. Is it okay as a married couple?
for a woman to take a women's trip by herself and a man
Hold it. She's going with other women, right?
other women?
Okay. All right. Just
And
girls
for a girls trip.
Okay.
Or
For a weekend.
or what?
Mhm.
Or a man to go on a guy's trip.
Okay. That's the question?
That's the question.
Okay.
Now let me set this up.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, when a woman goes on a women's trip,
Mm-hmm.
it's enlightenment. It's encouraging.
Okay.
Okay, it's uplifting.
Uplifting.
When a man goes on a man's trip,
What is it?
what are you going for? What y'all doing there? Who's gonna be there?
Who's asking these questions?
I mean,
the
it's
wife?
just looked at it. Yeah,
Okay.
it's looked at it as different.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you a question. How do you feel about that? You know,
Okay.
you're married. You know, there's a guy's trip. I mean, you're into more of the trips that you take with more of the pastor stuff like that. But
Sure.
if you went, some of your guys from high school came to you and said, "Hey, man,
Yeah. Hey.
we're going on this trip.
We go to
want
DR."
Yeah. Do you want to go?" And you said,
Absolutely. Let me get my passport together.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
"Yeah." Is that what you say?
No.
You
Okay.
said that?
First, let me answer your first
Answer the
question.
Yeah.
Is it okay for your spouse to go on a girls trip or the males going on a male's trip? I'll answer it this way. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with those separate vacations, weekends, what have you. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with them. So I would say it's okay. All right. That's my first part of the answer.
Okay.
B part is, you know, if the purpose of the trip is to, as you said, the women go and they get enlightened. They have some activities. I've never been on a woman's trip because I'm not a woman, but they go with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe it's to strengthen their sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
They have goals. If it's married women, they're going with the goal of how can I be a better person in my marriage, a better wife, a better spouse to my husband.
If they're going on that goal, but
If
what if
we're just talking about going to Vegas?
we're talking about going to Vegas?
Okay.
We're talking about people that you're setting the
Well,
structure.
we are talking about married
We're
couples.
talking about married couples.
Okay, all right.
I see what you're saying, because you're saying that, okay, I know that these people are what they're going for.
They have a purpose.
You really don't know these people,
Okay.
and you know that they're going to Vegas,
Okay.
and you know a couple of them is shady.
Okay.
You know
You know this.
You know this.
You know this. And your wife has said, "Hey, I want to go on this girls' trip
yeah,
with my girls.
I'm not like that, but I'm going with them."
I'm going with them." So what's the purpose of the trip?
So are you still okay with that? You know that couple of them girls is like questionable.
Are they married?
No.
Oh, so they're married. It's a married mixture of
Yeah,
single-
mixed. Some of them are not.
Well, let me say this. I mean,
Be truthful about it.
If I be truthful about it,
Be truthful about it.
I may
Our
be
audience, I'm
I may
trying to
be-
get him to
okay.
give a honest opinion.
Yeah, let me put
This
my glasses on.
Yeah, this was given to me
Mm-hmm.
by a married couple.
Yeah.
That was going through some situations. When the person came back, they overheard some things that happened on the trip.
On the trip, okay.
And The spouse denied it.
Oh.
It ever happened.
Okay.
But the he say, she say, and the whole entire time in my mind was like, did you know that your spouse was going somewhere? Did you know who the people that spouse was going with?
Mm-hmm.
And
were these activities going
to take place? Mm-hmm. If you agree to that, I thought that maybe there's some other agreements and understanding about, hey, this is what, as a married couple, this is who we are, mm-hmm. and this is how we present ourselves as a married couple. Mm-hmm. I think that was left out of that conversation. Yeah. Should it have been there? Not really, but yet and still, for all this to be going on, something was not talked about in this vacation,
in this trip.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm bringing up this topic based upon, is it okay when you are going on a girls trip or a guys trip? Should married couples allow for that to happen? And you say yes, right? You said it's healthy. Is it healthy, or?
I said there's nothing inherently wrong with that. And also said there also should be a purpose, if there's a purpose.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you framed it a little different. You said, I know some of these persons on this trip are shady. That's what you call them, shady.
Yeah. Questionable.
Okay, let's say questionable.
Yeah.
All right, let's use a politically correct. But there's some antennas going up in your mind. Hey, they may be saying that they're going for this purpose, but because of the personalities or the characteristics of these people who are going on that trip, they're probably going to deviate from the high ideal of the trip.
Right.
And I'm not too sure if it's just going to be the spiritual enlightenment.
Right.
Should I let my wife go, or should I be okay with it? Let's say be okay with it.
Right.
That's a decision you're going to have to make. I will say this.
Answer the question.
I'm answering the questions. You think I'm dancing? I'm tapped. I think I am tap dancing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if there's some questionable, I would really talk to my spouse about it.
Would you tell her you're not going, or would you say, I don't think you should go because of? Yeah.
Well, I would say my conversation approach would be, hey, let's discuss this. So and so who's going on a trip with you. She's got some
questions.
She's got some questionable behaviors.
Yeah.
I want you to always keep this in mind, is that your witness is most important. And so, yeah, I understand you're going on a vacation. I understand you're going with the girls. I understand, this is some time away to relax and what have you. At the end of the day, be mindful of whatever you do.
Right.
It's going to be a reflection not only on you, but it's also going to be a reflection on our family.
Mm.
And your witness,
there you go,
is most important. So be mindful of what you do and show in that environment. Because if the people particularly if there are non-Christians on the trip, girl, you can do anything. You here, ain't nobody gonna see nothing.
There you go.
At the end of the day, no one may see what you're doing. However, your witness is going to be affected if you do something that is, quote unquote, not Christian based, not godly based. Mm-hmm. And that's the most important thing to me. The other thing is, as I always say, if you are a Christian, do you influence the room, or does the room influence you?
Oh, yeah.
If the room is influencing you, that means you are, what I mean by that, if the room is influencing you, your friends are influencing you to the point that you don't follow what you know or your values, and you ease them and what have you, that's gonna affect long term.
Mm-hmm.
If you influence the room, then the room is either they're going to come up higher.
Mm-hmm.
Not say that you're this better spiritual type of person, but you have a standard in your life that this is what I do. These are my non-negotiables. I want people to look at me, and then every time they think about me, your character arrives in the room before you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if people know your character, they should know it before you even enter the room.
Yeah, they should know.
And so, again, ask yourself: do I influence the room, or does the room influence me?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if a situation occurs where the environment is influencing me against what I would normally do,
mm-hmm.
then I've got to leave that room,
mm-hmm.
okay, and leave. Hey, I'll see you later.
I think
and that's a challenge.
That is a challenge.
That's a challenge, and I'm not saying that in all the situations, me personally,
mm-hmm.
it can influence me, and I have a bad day, or I give in. But it's going to bother me. It's going to bother me because, was that the best representation that I want people of myself, that I want people to take away from?
Well, I think you said it earlier, and that's some of the things that I was actually was thinking in my head when I was hearing this story. I think is representation of the family.
Mm-hmm.
You are not your own person,
right?
Your goals are not is shared
mm-hmm.
with someone else's goals,
right?
Your children, your spouse, you move differently mm-hmm. in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, girls trips, guys trips, I think that's for the single life.
Okay.
I do not think that's for marriage.
Okay.
I think that.
What if it's married guys?
Even with married guys, me personally, I'm more focused on, I would say, being more family oriented than social.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll explain that.
My friends are that has the same pattern on family oriented is me.
Okay.
And I don't have a lot of
them.
Okay.
You have a lot of what? Friends that are on the same family oriented pattern as you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have the same focus. And in that, we might talk about things. We're personal with our family. We understand the healthiness of being personal, mm-hmm. Structure with our families. Mm-hmm. But we talk on, strengthening each other as family, as husbands. Mm-hmm. Was it like that before? No, it wasn't. Mm-hmm. But I've learned of so many horror stories like this one. Whether or not the person has did something or not, the trust is being questioned mm-hmm. between the couple. And putting yourself in a situation that you're not representing the family, mm-hmm. You might be walking into doors that you might be have good intents, mm-hmm. but something gets back out that it wasn't you, and you're trying to defend yourself on something that wasn't. So why would you put yourself in there? Mm-hmm. That would be my question. So looking at that and saying to myself, I probably wouldn't just do it. I probably would have a conversation saying, hey, you know what? There would be no guys trips.
Mm-hmm. No guys trip.
There would be no girls trips.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What about a men's church group weekend trip, a men's retreat?
Well, I think that.
Have you ever been on one?
I've been on one.
Okay, so you wouldn't categorize that as a men's vacation?
I would. In this scenario, I think I'm separating the two. Okay. Because what the first question I asked you about is people that you might not know might be questionable. Okay. That right there, if I think a person is questionable or whatnot, I would be like, I don't really want.
You play golf?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I don't play golf.
You don't play golf. No. Have you wanted to play golf? What do you play? What?
Basketball.
Basketball. Would you go on a basketball 3-day
No.
weekend with you and your guys? We just go and play basketball?
No.
If you did play golf, you wouldn't do a golf outing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because
if I was married,
if you were married,
no.
you're just going on a golfing trip for the weekend, man. I'm going with some of my friends.
And maybe some of our listeners might be indifferent. This is my personal thing.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I've heard too many stories. I mean, some was true.
Yeah.
And some is yet to be discovered.
Okay.
Especially with Vegas.
What about the DR? I have a family member. Actually, it's my younger, bigger brother, because he's bigger than me. He's taller than me and muscular than me. And they have a mancation. It's called mancation. They go to the DR. They rent a nice little villa and what have you, and they play golf.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
I mean, some couples might see.
But he's not married.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Now, if they had something like that now, I would go. Okay. But even in a serious relationship, I would think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that is going to help me in the family?
Mm-hmm.
Am I representing my family by even going with some of these people that are questionable?
Mm-hmm.
They had this thing just came up. It was the what was it? The Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
And
that's a big thing in Kentucky.
That's a big thing.
You in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big thing in Kentucky, and
it's even bigger in Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the situationships was a trip to the Derby.
Okay.
And got there, and there was a lot of alcohol. There was a lot of parties that was going on, and everybody got cameras.
Oh yeah, this is a camera society now.
Everybody got a camera.
This is a camera. We live in a camera environment. There's a camera always somewhere.
Yeah, and if you deny something, why is it that the camera is saying something different?
Oh,
and it was
the camera is telling the truth.
Yeah. It was the alcohol. It was the influence by the friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was peer pressure. It was having a good time. All of this stuff left this particular person out of what they represent as a family.
Okay, family man.
A family man or a family woman. Okay. They wasn't representing their family anymore.
Yeah.
And it showed that person, even though when the camera stopped, what was told escalated to something else, and what other people saw in the gossip. You putting yourself in a gossip world. You're putting yourself in questioning. Mm-hmm. So I don't think, me personally, if someone was questioned and I or my spouse asked me, "Hey, I'm going here," and I knew that there were some of their friends that wasn't questionable. I mean that was questionable. Mm-hmm. I would say, "Hey, does this represent us as a family? What you're doing this,
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, I wouldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a difference of a group that you're going with, that
Mm-hmm.
the people,
mm-hmm.
these people are on the same page about their families,
mm-hmm.
a men's group that is going to like a men's retreat,
mm-hmm.
a Christian men's retreat or something like that, where pastors there, you're going to have people that's going to be helping out with some of the issues when it comes to men.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with that. Same goes for women.
Mm-hmm.
You know where it's going to be about. You know the people who's going. To me, that would be different.
Mm-hmm. So a men's retreat or women's retreat with the church or a religious group or what have you, that's very different from just vacations. What you're talking about is, hey, me and some of the guys, we're going on this weekend to, I don't know, what's that place that you take your children to down?
Universal Studios?
No, I don't know if it's Universal. What's that? What is
Gatlinburg.
That place? Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
Gatlinburg, or you got Vegas and what have you. But we just going on a treat. Me and the guys, we rent a cabin.
Vegas.
We were in the cabin.
Oh, where?
To Gatlinburg. They're just going to Gatlinburg, man, for the weekend. You know, it's a holiday weekend, or it's just 3 week. You know, we get together and we talk about male issues. You know, strengthen us as males and men, and being better in life and what have you. You know, we got a guy's coming in. He's going to talk to us. He's a motivational speaker, and he'll deal with family. And we're going to be away for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We back on. Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday evening. Can we go?
That would be a.
It's not a Christian thing. Just boys. They just go.
If you want to put yourself in that situation,
okay, you're not putting yourself in that. As a married person,
as a
single person, you would do it. But as a married person,
I even put myself in situations. This is true. I even put myself in situations knowing that I'm not interested in doing anything else besides seeing the sights, going to see what's there, hanging out with the guys, and was caught up in seeing things that I didn't want to see.
You didn't want to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, boys' codes and all this stuff like that. And
you're going to take it to the grave.
I got to take it to the grave. And it's like, man, why am I seeing this?
Okay.
Now, why is this dude doing this? Why? I mean, we supposed to be doing this.
Okay.
Why am I putting myself in this situation? Even it affected me, even though I wasn't even doing it.
Right. You felt uncomfortable. In other words, you didn't even want to be there.
Yeah. And when you're looking at the person at, at church or whatnot, you be like, man,
I didn't
know. Man, come on now.
You didn't even want to be in that environment.
I didn't want to be able to have that
and
thought.
So the best way to not be in that environment is to say, no, I'm not
be
going.
In that
not be in that environment. Okay.
All not be in that environment.
I get you. So let's...
And that goes for women too.
Sure.
That goes for women. We need to understand that, Satan is out here to destroy relationships, especially marriages.
Yeah.
He hates it.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot let our guard down on where we are representing our family, our children. Sometimes if you know people that have a past and they're not really stable, they're not really focused on what your situation is.
Mm-hmm. Don't go!
Don't go! Don't put yourself in a situation. Don't be put in an area where, Bomani.
Yeah. You couldn't unsee what you saw.
Yeah, Bomani. I heard this happen. I heard this or your wife come to you and say, Bomani, I heard this happen to your partner and he did this. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
No, you wouldn't do that.
I saw it, but baby, it wasn't me.
Hey, don't go nowhere with him.
It wasn't me. So,
don't boys code. Don't go nowhere with this dude. Yeah. He'll tell on you. You'll tell on him. I don't even want to be put in that situation.
I got you. I understand. So you're talking about the vacations, the men getting together. If you're single,
not just men, women as well.
I got you. Women, yeah. If you're single, hey, if it's a single situation, you probably go.
Yeah.
Even though, you might see some stuff that you can't unsee.
Yeah.
And you feel uncomfortable if you saw it, but at least you're single. But if you're married, your take is don't do it.
I got some friends.
If it's a men's retreat, Christian based, spiritually based, some organized type of thing that's been going on to build malehood and being a better husband and what have you, that's different. That's what you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but I think, so I would say this. No, I would say this. If you're married, and you're on a quote unquote male vacation, get together, what have you, you know what your witness is. Your witness is important. And so if you want to always guard your witness, because as you said earlier, you're not just representing you individually. You're representing your spouse, you're representing your family. And if you're in one of those situations where if you were seen in the group, best thing for you to do is leave, whatever it is. That's if you've gone to this Well, you wouldn't even put yourself in there.
There
So
you
I'm
go.
just talking to people who say, hey, again, I'll say this. Inherently, there's nothing wrong with male vacations or retreats or what have you.
Guys trip,
Guys trip, girls trip. Inherently, there's nothing wrong with them. As a Christian, we have to beware.
Yeah.
And we want to be the one who influences the room versus the room influencing us. And what should be at the forefront of your mind is, if I participate in this particular activity that my counterparts are saying, hey, it's nothing wrong with it. If I know it's going to affect my witness, then I'm not doing it. I would just politely decline. You know, you can call me whatever you want to call me. Oh man, you a punk, you whatever. You know, that's fine. But your witness is most important. And you want to avoid those situations that cause your witness into question because because you just want to do that.
Yeah, because you're telling somebody. I'm looking at you like, man, I ain't think this dirty. You got no trust with me, man.
Yeah. So your witness is most important.
Yeah.
And hey, and if it's a trip coming up and your wife is saying, hey, I want to go on it, you know, you should have my person would have a conversation with her and just make that point. Whatever you do on this trip, one, I'm trusting you that you will represent our family well. I'm trusting you to do the right thing. You know, my family, we have this saying when we leave each other: make good choices. You know, when our daughter goes off to school, make good choices, because the choices that we make can either come back to hurt us or help us. So the choices that you make in those situations is protect your witness, and you influence the room versus the room influencing you. So that's my take on it, and we're at the time where we have to leave.
Yeah.
We talked about vacations, girl vacations, women's vacation. My point of view, there's nothing inherently wrong with them. Zeke says avoid them altogether if you're married. And
avoid certain ones.
And avoid certain ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
right.
you know the people.
Right. Right. If you know the
Questionable.
this is not the church outing or retreat for women or men. We're not talking about that. But those vacations, recreation times. At the end of the day, protect your witness. And if you see something, if you don't feel comfortable doing something, just politely say, "Hey, I'm not going to participate. I'm not going out to the club or whatever happens in Vegas. I don't know. You've been there before. You've done almost it. No, I'm Bomani Tyemba. No.
What happens in Vegas
stays in Vegas. What happens in Gatlinburg stays in
Gatlinburg.
But no, in all seriousness, we always want to protect our witness. We always want to make good choices. Yeah. Because the choices that we make, they're going to come back. And they're either going to hurt us or they're going to help us. Yeah. I'm Bomani Tyemba. This is Zeke Adams. Push that like button, subscribe button, leave those comments with Framework for the Family, and we'll see you the next time on another episode of Framework for the Family. Bye-bye.
Bye.